Good day, guys. This is Tian here. Welcome to my channel, Smith Speed. Today we're going to talk a little bit about my Honda CBR 125R. It's a 2009 model. It's the fuel injection one, second generation CBR. We're just going to talk about a little bit about fuel consumption, pros and cons, if it's a good bike or not, would you want one or not, and why I prefer this one over the new generation 3 CBR 125. Right, first of all, let's go through a bit of specifications. This is the 2009 one. It's a 124cc 4-stroke engine, 2 valves per cylinder. It's fuel injection, single cylinder. This is the HRC tricolor with the golden rims. This is, in my opinion, the best color that you can get this bike in. That is just my opinion. I actually bought this bike second-hand from a guy in Sea Point, very nice guy. As you can see, the bike has roughly about 15,000 kilometers on, which is pretty much nothing for these bikes. For some reason here in the Western Cape, it's very difficult to get these Honda CBR 125s. I think it's mostly because it's such a good and reliable bike that the people that have them don't want to get rid of them. Alright, so basically the fuel tank is about 10 liters. You can easily get 35 k's to a liter with this bike. That is extremely light on fuel. That is definitely probably one of the best pros about this bike. Second thing, it's a reasonably small bike. Obviously, it's only 125 cc's. So very light motorbike, easy to ride, especially if you're a first rider. If you've never ridden a bike before, I would definitely suggest getting one of these. Like I said, this is definitely my favorite color. I've been looking for this for quite a while, so when I saw it, I had to get it. This is not my first bike. I actually had exactly the same Honda CBR about 2 years ago, a black one actually, because I couldn't find one in this color. So I'm very glad I got this bike. Alright, power wise, it is a 125, so don't expect too much power. It makes 10 kilowatt at round about 10,000 rpm, and also about 10 newton meters, which isn't that bad considering the size of the engine. It is also nice liquid cooled, so not any air cooled stuff. Yeah, so let's talk about pros. Like I said, fuel consumption is definitely the best one. Lightness, this bike is extremely light, so anyone can ride it. The clutch is super light. I can pull it with one finger with no problem. Throttle is light. I mean, you've only got one throttle body to pull, so very easy. The brakes, it's not the best in the world. It is a disc brake front and back, so it stops quite nicely, but like I said, 125, you're not going to get the best on the market. Few more pros I would say is, well, I like the look of this one. I don't prefer the look of the new one that much. The new one is a lot bigger. The fairings are a lot wider. The tire at the back is also a lot wider. So if you prefer that look, I also don't like the single headlight of that one. I do like this look. The only thing I don't like about this bike though also is the mirrors. Not the best mirrors in the world. I do prefer it if the new one that is on the fairing. That just looks a lot better, and it is a lot better for visibility. Cons about this bike, in my case, I do ride with a passenger quite often, so the rear shock I don't think is too good for that. It is quite soft having a second person on, but if you're only planning on riding it to school or back, or even just in town, if you're on your own, absolutely perfect, no problems. Power wise, in town, absolutely nice. It is very nippy. quite quick, especially if you're above say 8,000 rpm. Anything underneath that, you're not gonna go anywhere anytime soon. If you keep it above 8,000 rpm, that's about where 125 needs to be to get anything out of it. Yeah, if you're on your own, absolutely fine. If you plan on going long distance, I would prefer, maybe if you could in your budget, go a little bit bigger, maybe the newer CBR 250 or something in that line. 125s, they don't have the power to go up hills. You're gonna it's gonna be a hard time getting somewhere, especially because I do a lot of passenger riding also at the back. You're gonna go up and down the gears forever to go up hills, especially if there's wind. Yes, it's just, yeah, it's hectic. You're not gonna get anywhere. You're so tired after that, about 2 hours or so on a long trip, because you constantly have to gear up and down, and you can't basically get anywhere. Top speed on these bikes, this specific one isn't too bad. In my opinion, is actually quite fast, especially you need about a good downhill, and you need to lie flat on the tank, with if you could some wind behind you, you can get it to 160. I've gotten this bike to 160. That's absolutely maxed out. The red line starts at 11,000, but the bike physically cuts out at 12,000 rpm. So at 12,000 rpm in 6th gear, you'll be doing 160. But like I said, that is if all the conditions are perfect. Realistically, on a flat road with a little bit of wind, realistically you're gonna get top speed sitting upright, 100, 110. You're not gonna get more than that. I don't like leaning down too much. I know it's a 125. That's the only way you get any type of speed out of these things. But like I said, if you sit upright with just a little bit of wind, realistically only about 100 or so. Yeah, another con I don't like about this bike, the headlights, they're good. They are very good. You can definitely see at night. The only thing is though, for some reason on the 125 dims is this light, and then if you put on your high beams, the dim dies and only the high beams come on, which is really annoying. The thousands aren't like that. The dim stays on permanently, so when you actually put on your brights, both lights are on. So there you can see, don't know if you can see that nice, but that is dim basically. So if you do the brights, you can see it dies, which is really annoying. So if you stick around on my channel, I'm going to do a bit of work on this bike for sure, and actually tomorrow I'll be fixing that problem. I'm going through to Kleinmond to a good friend of mine, auto electrician, that's going to wire basically so that it is like the thousands. When you put on your brights, both lights stays on, which I think just already in itself looks better, if not anything else basically. So a few things is, I'm not going to go into too much detail about this bike, what I'm going to do to it further. If you stick around to my channel, you'll definitely see what I do to it. For sure, the standard exhaust definitely needs to go. This bike is 100% OEM. Absolutely nothing has been changed on this bike. You can see that OEM indicators, everything on this bike is completely standard. So the exhaust is definitely going to change. I'm not going to tell you guys exactly what exhaust I'm going to put on just yet, so stick around for that. Light wise, like I said, lights, I'm going to do that modification, like the thousands, and then yeah, few small other things that I'm going to do to it, if you guys stick around to see that. I'm not going to do a riding video at the moment. The only reason for that is I don't have all the equipment just yet to be able to do a proper riding video, to not obviously get all that wind noise and all that kind of stuff. So sorry for that. So yeah, I'm definitely not going to do that yet, but absolutely I'm going to do that in the future. So I'm just going to do a start up. You'll see all the gauges are all analog. You get a nice heat gauge. It barely ever goes past that second line. It is always at least at the first or second line. Doesn't really go further than that. Even on a really hot day. You've got your your analog rev counter, your analog speedometer, and also your fuel gauge. Like I said, 35 k's to a liter. There's about 10 liters in here, so yeah, you're gonna go really far on a tank for really cheap. This bike I've got for about 18,500, which in my opinion really is a good price for the condition I got this bike in. There's absolutely nothing wrong with this bike. I would prefer for a first rider getting this year model, or maybe even the first generation CBR. The only reason for that is they are cheaper, and engine wise they're very similar to the new one. The only thing is the new one is quite expensive. I mean, they start from around, for a good one, 32 to 35,000 they start there, which is a little bit much in my opinion. For a CBR 125 you're gonna get about the same speed as you do out of this little bike. So for a first bike I would rather just get the pay a little less and get basically the same thing. The major thing different obviously is the styling. If you prefer the new styling, then definitely go for that bike. For me, I like this styling mainly, I think, because the first bike I ever rode was this shape CBR 125. It's actually a friend of mine, Delaray. You'll probably also see him tomorrow. But yeah, let's give it a start up. Like I said, this thing is completely standard. I don't know if you guys know, but you do get a snorkel mod for these bikes. The airbox is actually right underneath the tank. If you want me to do a video on that, I can do that to show you how that looks and how you do that. I've actually already done that on this bike, but I'm gonna actually change it back because I don't like it that much, to be honest. I'll go in more detail when I do it, and then I'll show you exactly how you guys do it, how it sounds, and how it sounds stock. Like I said, it's already been done, so this is how it sounds. I'll also do a proper comparison of the exhaust before and after once I upgrade it to the new one. But basically it doesn't sound that great. Completely standard exhaust, all mild steel also. You can see there's a small manifold. So yeah, I'll definitely change that out. This thing needs a little bit of sound. So yeah guys, that is basically it. If you have any questions, please leave it down in the comments below. I'll try my best to answer everything I can. And if you guys want any more content on this motorbike, please let me know and I'll see if I can do that for you. But yeah, please stick around if you don't mind. I would appreciate it if you guys subscribe. That would definitely help me out a lot. And like I said, I'll do quite a few stuff on this bike. Thank you very much for watching. Enjoy your day.